Guys, we're gonna start like in less than 1 minute. We have, close to 300 people registered. I know we have 60, 70 people on. There are several people in the waiting room that are coming on, but appreciate everybody for joining us. In the chat, we have a chat. Y'all just drop where y'all from, where y'all live at. We want to see who's all on here. But tonight we're going to be talking about student housing, sharing a great opportunity with you guys. So we're super excited. And again, bear with us. Got a lot of people hopping on, people still hopping on from all over the place. And we're going to be getting started like in less than 1 minute. We appreciate everybody for joining, especially on this cold Monday evening.
Tuesday.
8:32 Tuesday evening. So cold, I done forgot the day. Freezing.
It's not cold.
For frozen times. Can you hear us better now? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I'm just trying to run. We're gonna have to run with that. All right, everybody. Like Gene stated, we're gonna get started here briefly, man. We'll get some soft intros to who you're looking at right now, and then of course you'll see our bios in a moment. My name is Kelly Parker. I go by KP the Building.
And I'm Christopher Daniels. Just excited to be here.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting, man. This whole webinar is going to be about us getting back active in our communities, man. I mean, a lot of people on this call know someone, or maybe themselves even went to FAMU, so they understand the importance of, making FAMU, just continue to thrive and grow. Like it's been very good to me, myself, and I know it's definitely been good to you.
That's been good.
So it's only right that we give back to the community that helped make us and mold us into the young men and women that we are today. So this webinar will be about community. It will be about how we can all get active and developing the community around FAMU and other parts, whether it's Georgia, Florida, Central Florida, South Florida, just other areas, because we're going to be going to several HBCUs doing this, but we're starting here at home first because we know the importance of it, how it affects us when we come back for homecoming and see, all the development at Florida State. There's nothing near FAMU outside of what FAMU is doing. Right. So took it upon ourselves to just hit the ground running and get constructive in the construction space, especially around FAMU. So go ahead and we can get this thing started.
So guys, welcome again to the call. We appreciate everybody. Like KP and Chris mentioned, along we got one of our lenders, DeMarcus is here. So we're going to go through this PowerPoint presentation and share with you, the opportunity that we have. And then at the end, we'll open it up for some questions, some Q&A. But there's a lot of people on this call that don't know who we are. So we're definitely going to share who we are and kind of like our backstory. But tonight's agenda, again, who we are and our track record. We're going to share a lucrative opportunity with you that revolves around student housing. We're also going to talk about why community economics is a great way to build passive, wealth. We're going to share, we're going to do opportunity overview. And then the last step for anybody who is serious about investing in community economics, then we'll also share with you how you can take that next step. Just a little bit about me for those of you who are kind of new, just to who I am. My name is Gene Johnson. I've been in Atlanta now for almost 2 decades. I'm a former top agent at Keller Williams, sold over 2,000 homes. Kelly was a part of that team here in Atlanta. We were at Keller Williams Atlanta Partners. I've built and renovated my team over 500 properties. That consists of new construction and renovation. Under Keller Williams, we've done over $300 million just in sales. Founder of Building Builders Academy. Kelly's a co-founder of Building Builders Academy. And I own Brightstone Homes, which is a residential redevelopment company based out of Metro Atlanta, but also service 4 different states.
All right, guys, and again, my name is Kelly Parker. As you can see, I'm a proud FAMU alum. Been a real estate agent for over 10 years, as well as an investor, developer, and builder. I'm the owner of Kali Investments and Metro Pro Remodeling, as well as the part owner, co-founder of Building Builders Academy, in which we have educated thousands of people on the importance of investing in real estate and building from the ground up. And one key thing that I am, and I want everybody to leave on this call knowing that you need to find your purpose. I'm very purpose driven. And I solely and truly believe that if your purpose doesn't involve helping someone next to you or around you, then that's not your real purpose. You're just doing something right now. So be on the lookout to continue evolving and developing not just solely yourself, but the people around you. It's all about community, it's all about unity, it's all about group economics, etc. So I want everybody this year in 2025 to find their purpose. And their purpose, one of their purposes, because you can have several, is helping someone in one way or another. Just whether you don't have the financial help for them, just talk to them. Sometimes your advice or listening to someone can be your purpose for that very moment. All of our purposes change over time because, you know, we change over time. So, and our environment changes over time. So just be on the lookout for someone in need, because it can definitely be a blessing that will give you a sense of fulfillment that money can't give you. So just be on the lookout for helping people grow.
No. All right, and I'm Christopher Daniels. I'm also a very, very proud FAMU alum. I've been investing in the Tallahassee market for the last 20 years. I've been a professor for 15 years. I'm the founder of Smart Capital. I own about 200 rental units in between Tallahassee, Ohio, Oklahoma, across several different states. And I also teach real estate at Cornell University and also for NARAB as well.
Nice. Want to let DeMarcus introduce themselves before we jump on this. Go ahead, DeMarcus.
Okay, great. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. It's a pleasure being here with Gene Johnson, of course, Kelly, the builder, KP, the builder, as well as Chris. I've met Chris one time before, I believe, here in Atlanta. I am DeMarcus Ross. You can follow me on Instagram at DRoss, the mortgage boss. I am an investor. I do investment loans as well as your standard Fannie, Freddie, FHA, VA, USDA loans as well. Right now, my core focus is helping the community as far as investing in new builds, fix and flips, things of that sort. I've been actually at this for approximately 3 years licensed, and actually have a passion for it because I always got tired of sitting out to the table doing a deal and always having the needle move, so to speak. Originally from Washington, D.C. As a D.C. kid, that's why I say it's not cold here in Atlanta. Enjoyed my comrades here, and I actually try to help these guys get their deals off the ground and get them funded and everything. So this right here, opportunity for you guys here, is something that's very, very lucrative, something that you guys should get a hold to and actually do some great impact in the community. Remember, if you're not giving someone an opportunity, then what are you really giving? Because opportunity is what creates wealth. Just keep that in mind. We are here to reach one, teach one, and help one, and get through the economic times today.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the thing I like about our core group of gentlemen that we have up here tonight, man, we all started literally from the bottom.
Oh, yes.
You know, from wholesaling to doing, you know, the minor fix and flips to doing the additions to doing the bigger properties. And now we're able to sit up here and talk about, you know, community economics and development. You know, so we went through the trenches to grow. Our track records really speaks for itself. Outside of being top agents in a very competitive market like Metro Atlanta, collectively we have, you know, probably, you know, 5-6 decades of just combined experience. You know, Chris Daniels has over 200, you know, rental properties, you know, throughout multiple states. You know, I've built and renovated over 500 properties along with Kelly's experience in building and renovating. So our track record really speaks for itself. Just a few recent deals that we've done here in Metro Atlanta. Chris has multiple deals that he's done down there, but these are some of the properties that we've done, and we specialize in a lot of different aspects of the residential space. You know, we've done starter homes at $300,000-$400,000 a pop. We also do a lot of mid-range homes, and we also do high-end homes. So our price point just in the Metro Atlanta has varied anywhere from that 400 to as high as $2 million on properties that we've done. So that speaks to our track record, that speaks to our team, and that just speaks to all the resources that we've collectively been able to really put together. Just a couple other homes for recent sales that we've done. In addition to sales, we also build our rental portfolio. You know, like Chris Daniel said, he has over 200 homes through multifamily and different investments. I personally, and I know along with Kelly and even DeMarcus, you know, we do a lot of single family rentals, build to rent, or the Burr method where we're rehabbing homes and keeping them for our portfolio. And so one of the things that we've seen in the market is that the market's changing. Like if you've been in real estate, you know it's not as easy to find that one-off single family flip anymore. It's not as easy to find in certain pockets, especially as it relates to, like, you know, where we're at full time, which is the Atlanta market, those one-off lots. So moving into development deals, creating more opportunities, being able to buy land, whether it's building subdivisions, whether it's building build to rent, or whether it's building duplexes, is going to be a key, because in certain pockets, you know, it's going to be hard to do this on your own. And that's why over the last several years, we've been compiling our resources, strategically partnering with each other. And now we've seen opportunities where we're at that next step of our evolution, where it's time to get bigger and better deals. But we know in order for that to happen, it starts with community economics. And I'll let Chris talk on this here in a minute, you know, about his experience with FAMU versus Florida State and kind of some of the things that are going on down there. Another great thing that we have going for us is our partnership with Home Depot through Building Builders Academy. You know, through this partnership, we're able to leverage not only support and resources to kind of help us scale in terms of what we're getting from our vendors, lumber, windows, doors. So just with this partnership alone is helping us grow from the standpoint of, you know, being able to streamline our materials, not only for a faster time, but more for an efficient time, and also helping us save money as it relates to our projects that we're building. We have a lot of current investors, of course, D. Ross and Tim. Of course, there's Chris, Kelly, and Desi. We work with, you know, several, you know, high profile people just in the Metro Atlanta area. So track records there, relationships there. And I'll turn it over to you, Chris, and I'll let you speak on what is community economics and kind of the importance of it.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the biggest things that I learned, so I got a chance to do my MBA at Florida State University in real estate. And I always wondered, like, how are these people building all these apartment complexes? How are they doing all these things, right? And when I realized what they were doing was they were pulling their money together, right? And a lot of the people who were doing these big developments, they were FSU alums, right? And the reason why is because they understood the area and they knew the demand, because they at one time were that demand, right? If you went to FAMU or you got a kid or niece, nephew, someone, you had to pay somebody some rent, right? So I think we talked about it in the last one, over $400 million a year is getting spent on rent in Tallahassee, right? That's a huge market. So when you have a market opportunity like that, that's really untapped or undertapped, then we all know that, okay, there's a big opportunity, but how do we actually tap in, right? So the way that you tap in is by coming together, right? So all these developments that you see around town is not just one person doing it, right? It's groups of people who've come together, they've pulled their money together, and they've gotten behind people with expertise and market specific knowledge, and they develop property after property after property after property. They started small and then they start scaling up, right? And I said, okay, well, if other people can do it, then why can't we? Right? So I was like, okay, who are some people who I could reach out to? And I couldn't think of anyone better than Kelly, than Gene, than your team because of the high quality work that you do, right? I understood that you guys appreciate FAMU. You understand the history, the culture. You understand the students there. Obviously, being a FAMU alum as well. But understanding that, look, we're not going to bring any junk down here and just throw it on somebody, right? We're going to bring them the best of the best, and we're going to be able to do it as a community, right? So that was kind of the thought process. And then it was kind of like one more thought process behind it, right? So it was like, why don't we see if we can even give a chance for FAMU alum to be able to invest, right? Because we could just go to some big like investment bank or some big people, get all the money, do it ourselves, and not really include other people. But then I thought, was that really the best way to do it? That's not really a sense of community.
Right.
So the best way to go about it would be not only to tap in FAMU alums to help develop the properties, but also give FAMU alum a chance to invest and to be able to reap the benefits of whatever we develop.
Right. And that's all those are great points, man. And I'm glad you mentioned that. Being here in Tallahassee, it oftentimes brings back a lot of memories from when I was staying in Paddington,
Yeah.
and the other guilds and all that old stuff. It was a great time to be alive when I was here in Tallahassee, as a student.
Yeah.
Right. And the more I ride around Tallahassee in today's age, like coming up there for homecoming last year and the year before, and I constantly see the growth up and down Gaines Street, right?
Yep.
And nothing is on the south side of Gaines Street being developed except for what FAMU is developing. I mean, there's a couple of new constructions, fix and flips as well, but there's nothing to cater to the demand of the students that we need. FAMU has to turn out so many students every semester because they don't have nowhere to stay, right?
Exactly.
And it's only right that we take advantage of what we've been going through the last 8, 10, 15 years in real estate and get these lots and start building these duplexes and triplexes because, I mean, what these kids paying for rent now is like, I would be in tears.
Right.
Like if I was in college, I would pay that kind of money. But honestly, it's what's going on in the world. It's not just the Tallahassee thing, it's nationwide.
Everywhere.
Everybody's paying a lot of money, but at least if they're going to pay something, let them pay for something they want.
Exactly.
Because there's a whole lot of renovations up here of stuff that's 70, 60 years old.
Yep.
Why not get down here and build something new for these students and make it, make the amenities what you're used to in 4 or 5 star hotels.
Exactly. So, high quality stuff, and then in addition to that, once we start developing, the housing, then also a lot of commercial activity will come as well, right? Because we're not only a shortage of housing, we also have a food desert, we also have an entertainment desert. There's a lot of things that will come, but it starts first with the housing, right? Bringing that high quality housing, putting more students right within walking distance of campus, and then also, in addition to that, you'll see it's going to be a trickle down effect of so much more coming along. So we're really going to be the beginning. We're going to be the spark for a huge development within the entire area. Yeah. So it's just something that I think it's exciting. So sometimes I get like a little excited about it. It's something that's always been on my heart. I just remember when I first started working at FAM back in 2011. Just driving past up and down campus and seeing all these empty houses, empty lots. I was like, man, somebody needs to buy this. Now, then I realized I'm just somebody.
Yeah, Gamble Street.
Gamble Street, exactly.
Gamble on gamble.
I gambled, big on gamble. So I bought as much as I could, with the funds that I had at the time. I even sold some properties I had in other cities to buy more. So I was able to get these lots, years ago, and then kind of come up with a plan. Okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. But at the end of the day, it's really about bringing the right team together, right? So now we got the right team. Now it's just time to execute on that vision, right? So now is the time, and that's what I think is really beautiful about it, and that's why community economics is so important.
Yeah, and bro, we weren't going to go another week into this year without expressing the importance of community economics, and this goes beyond Tallahassee.
Right.
Like if it's you and your family that want to put money together and invest in something, now is the time to do it.
Yeah.
Whether you invest with us or not, now is the time to do it because what we're faced with coming in the near future. It's time for us to stick together like never before.
Exactly. And if you look across the board, pretty much anyone you see who's successful, they engage in community economics.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you look at all different ethnicities, they're putting their money together and they're putting their money where their mouth is, and that's where they're getting what they want. right?
Hey, listen,
That's
we,
what it
me and
comes down
Gene
to.
see community economics every time we go on the job site. It's cooking food.
Exactly.
Everybody don't talk about it regardless of the trade.
Exactly.
They drywall guys, the
Yep.
painters, the plumbers,
Yep.
they huddle up around the
Huddle
hot
around,
plate. man.
exactly.
You know, they get it in. So.
And that's what's so important, right? So we can do the same thing, right? So there's no reason why, especially the caliber of alum that FAMU has, right?
Yes.
I mean, FAMU is just a top tier HBCU, top tier school, period. And the type of alum that we have, there's no reason why there's nothing that we can't do, right? And there's no reason why the neighborhood right next to that amazing school shouldn't be absolutely beautiful.
And
right?
owned by us.
And owned by us. And it will be, right? And one thing I always want to encourage people to say, you know, because sometimes when we talk about development, people just always assume that means that someone else is going to come in and take the property from us, right? We are the developers, right? So we will be the ones who develop the neighborhood the way that we want it to be developed, and we'll also be the ones who benefit from it long term, right? So it's not something where you have to worry about, oh, someone's going to come in and buy it out and all this and that. We're here. We're here for the long run, and we're here to make this community great.
Yeah.
So we've identified 5 key things. I mean, I know there are a lot more than 5, and I'll let either you or Kelly go through the 5 points of, you know, just really getting into like the nuts and bolts of the benefits of community economics.
Okay. As you can look at your screen and see that community economics bullet number 1 is shared wealth creation. Investment in real estate passively allows you to contribute to community growth while building personal wealth, leveraging the expertise of a company with a proven track record.
So I know you guys like kind of talk about that, but in your own words, Chris, when you hear the shared wealth creation, like what does that mean to like the average person?
Right. It is how you benefit from something bigger, right? So, for example, a lot of us own stocks, right? You don't have to go out and invent Tesla. You don't have to go out and invent Google. You don't have to go out and invent Facebook. But guess what? You own some shares,
Right?
Right. So that's basically essentially the same thing, right? So by being able to buy into this vision, you're also able to benefit from that vision, and that's something that you could pass on for generation to generation, right? Since 1887, people have been coming to Tallahassee paying rent. Right? Since 1887. That's a long time, right?
Right.
So somebody been paying somebody rent since 1887 in this city. So it's safe to say that, you know, for another 100, 200, 300, 400, however many years, as long as you owning these properties or owning some land in Tallahassee, somebody's gonna be paying you rent. So that's creating real legitimate generational wealth, right? You know, sometimes that word gets thrown out a lot.
Yeah, and let me tell you my perception of generational wealth.
For
right?
sure.
It's not what you leave your kids.
Right.
It's what you teach them while you're still here.
Exactly.
So they can learn, so they can continue to grow after you're gone. That's real generational wealth. It's not leaving a kid $1 million or a couple $1 million.
For sure.
If they don't know how to use it or continue to make it to grow, then that's not generational wealth. You just inherited some money.
Exactly. So, you know, it's something that's definitely a strong opportunity.
Facts. So point number 2, KP.
One of our guys texted me, Ken, come on, Ken, wait till it's over.
He texted me too. I feel bad. He texted me too.
All right, risk mitigation. Partnership with an established company reduces investment risk through their experience in the market analysis, the property management, and strategic planning. I
mean, this is a simple way to do it. If you come in and try to do something on your own, the first time you ever did it, you're gonna mess up. Right? I mean, that's just straightforward, right? Mm-hmm. You're gonna come into a market you don't know. I mean, I see this happen every day. People say, "Oh, I want to buy a house in Tallahassee." They live in like California somewhere. They end up overpaying. They do this. They just mess up left and right? So having a team that's on the ground that has years and years of experience of doing it, it just lowers the amount of risk because you're dealing with someone who has expertise and has gone through all the issues, all the problems, can deal with the city, deal with this and that, and it makes the process a lot smoother.
Yeah, absolutely. Point number 3.
All right. Economic impact. Your investment helps fund local development projects, creating jobs, enhancing infrastructure, and improving the overall economy of the community. Just say
I mean, absolutely. So, you know, obviously Tallahassee, anytime you build anything that creates hundreds of jobs, right? So any any particular house, you may have maybe say 50, 60 people at some point come through working, right? So on a multi-family, it may even be more than that, maybe up to 100 people. So it's 100 families, right? So not just 100 individuals might come to your site, and let's say each of them have, you know, a wife, kids, da, da, da. So you might be helping 400 to 500 people per project, right? So that's a huge impact in the community. And then they're going to take money, they're going to go to the corner store and buy some drinks, they're going to do this, buy snacks, do that, and the other. So basically, you're creating money into the economy of Tallahassee, which is something that's definitely needed.
Yeah, and that's always a great thing.
All right. And diversified portfolio. Proven real estate companies offer access to a variety of property types and locations, diversifying your investment and optimizing returns.
Right. So you may say, okay, you know, I own single family houses. I've never owned a duplex or a triplex or any type of student housing. So how can I get into that without trying to just jumping in by myself? Right. So this is a great way to diversify your portfolio, because a lot of people, you know, are over allocated into one asset class. Student housing is actually a great asset class, but it's very hard for the average person to get into. So the average person can't invest in student housing without coming through a company as the way we're doing it. So it's a great way for you to diversify without having to have huge amounts of capital and to take huge amounts of risk by working with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Good points. Good points.
All right, time and stress savings. I like that. Active investors let you earn income without the headaches of property management, tenant issues, and deal structuring, all handled by seasoned professionals.
All right.
I mean, I'll take that. Time and stress savings, right? One of the most important things we got is time. Can't make any more of it. We just have to do what we can, the most we can with the time we have. Now, when it comes to stress, I don't like to do anything, and I coined this term. I don't like to manufacture stress, right? So if I can get something done where I don't have to put a lot of bandwidth in it, I'm going that route. As long as I know that it's going to get done correctly, and that goes with everything. Like when you know you got a good pool of subs that can go handle this particular job, your stress level is automatically down. But if you just try somebody out new, and you got to monitor them, and then they making more work, they manufacturing stress. Nah, I'm not into that. So yeah, stress savings.
That's the biggest thing that we learned just as a developer. Like, you know, building houses for us now is easy. Of course, we have challenges. There are things that we have to navigate, but the challenges aren't the challenges that a new person will have coming in. You know, I look back to 15 years ago when I started renovating houses, and my stress level was really high because it's trying to identify the right subcontractor, the right person that's not going to rip you off. How do you manage that person? How do you make sure the work is done on time? And so by us having the experience that we have and already having the vetted subs, it's a lot easier for us to come do this work because we have the proven systems and the proven people to get it done efficiently and effectively. Because managing properties can go one or two ways. It can go great or it can go really bad. And a lot of people that start out in real estate investing, they may find a property that's a good deal, but they end up losing money or making mistakes because of the wrong bad contractor. How many people on the call have ever heard or been in real estate and you know somebody that has a cousin or uncle that can fix or do something? You know, all of us have been there. You know, I'm sure all of us have at least renovated a property or have some experience in real estate, have gotten burned or gotten ripped off or lost money dealing with the subcontractor. And a lot of our stress and a lot of our losses come from subcontractors. So I'm a licensed general contractor in Georgia. We have partnerships with other licensed general contractors through Florida, but collectively we have a team that can manage, facilitate, deliver, keep our budgets on par and our timelines on par. So I'm gonna turn it back over to you, Chris, and we're gonna get into the nuts and bolts of exactly kind of what student housing is and some of the statistics and benefits, pros and cons to kind of student housing in the Tallahassee market.
Sure. So, you know, again, a lot of us on this call may have went to FAMU or they have some experience with FAMU. And I'll tell a lot of people, depending on where you went to school, today is different. Yesterday's price is not today's price, right? What we was paying, if I was in school, I was paying about like maybe $400 a month in rent, and barely paying that, right? But nowadays, these kids is paying anywhere from 900 to almost 1250, some even more than that per room, right? There's 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom apartments on Gang Street going for 1,500 to 1,600 per room. And if you go in the rooms, they look like prison cells, right? I'm talking about all they got is a place for your bed, a desk, and a bathroom. That's it. And when I say it looks like prison, it really looks like prison, right? And that's just what it is now because there's such a high demand, right? So one of the things I try to explain to people, if you haven't worked in academia, you don't understand how many people apply to go to college, right? So with housing, the population can only grow so much naturally, right? I mean, it's only 9 months in a year, so you can only have maybe 1.5 kids per year naturally, right? So if you have some immigration, things like that, the population of a city can only grow so much. But the population of a university can grow uncontrolled, right? Thousands and thousands of people apply to FAMU. Thousands and thousands of people apply to FSU. Thousands and thousands of people apply to TSC, right? A lot of people may not be familiar, but now we have Florida State, we have FAMU, and we also have Tallahassee State College, which used to be called Tallahassee Community College, right? So now that's also another 4-year university, right? And actually one of the premier community colleges in the country, right? So anyone who doesn't get into FAMU or FSU, they automatically get sent to Tallahassee State College, or some go straight there. But guess what? They don't have any on-campus housing. Zero. None. So as that university continues to grow and grow and grow, who's gonna house them? Same thing with FAMU. I mean, FAMU has on-campus housing, FSU has on-campus housing, but most of these universities are only able to house less than 20% of their students, right? So that means 80% of all the students who are going to school in Tallahassee are living off campus and need a place to live, right? So this market is huge. Pretty much everyone, I mean, there's some people who don't want to go to college, and that's fine. But most people, if they had the opportunity to, they want to go to college, right? So there's millions and millions of potential students being produced every single year. And a lot of them are going to end up in Tallahassee. So as the state of Florida continues to grow, more and more students are going to end up coming to Tallahassee to go to college. And that's why there's a huge demand for student housing, right? So every year there's a huge shortage of housing at FAMU and also at FSU. And what the universities a lot of times do is they partner with private developers to send their excess students to stay in those apartments, right? So that's pretty much kind of like the long and short of it is that because there's so much of a surplus demand, whatever you develop when it comes to student housing, it will be filled immediately.
So let's talk about the opportunity that we currently have, Chris.
Yeah, for sure. So we currently have 10 lots are located, near the university areas. And right now, based on zoning, you can do about 2 duplexes per lot. Some a little bit more, some a little bit less, depending on some particulars. And each duplex is pretty much either 3 or 4 bedrooms per unit, or either 6 or 8 bedrooms per duplex, right? All of these are within walking distance of campus, Gang Street, College Town, Railroad Square, all kind of the main amenities that you see in the urban core of the city. A lot of people, some people may or may not be familiar. Florida State is also developing their School of Business on Gang Street. So a lot of stuff is starting to come into the centralized area. So the housing that we're developing is right in that immediate vicinity of all the things that are developing around the city. So these are just kind of like some images. I mean, Gene, I don't know if you want to say something you want to speak on design.
Yeah, for sure. So I know, we have some designs kind of in works that we're proposing on doing. We're definitely going to be building for the future. And when I say we're building for the future, like we're going to be bringing some of the flavor that we're doing kind of in Orlando and not in Atlanta and other parts of Florida to Tallahassee. So we're leaning more towards that modern contemporary type look because we understand like that's the future. We don't want to build what what we went to school in and what our parents went to school in, we definitely want to, bring some flavor and build for the future. I think one that's going to help us capture um, the best quality tenants as it relates to students. I think it's also going to help us, get the best appreciation because we're building something unique, we're building something cool, we're building something fun. And I think our demand is going to be through the roof when you can build something that's different than your run of the mill stuff. So that's kind of what we've kind of proposed for the exterior. The interior, we're working on a few different designs. Of course, we're going to have a lot of the modern, features inside. We're also going to be able to incorporate some things as it relates to technology. Technology is really big. We're looking at putting smart panels in these homes. Smart panels, one, can be a tax savings just from energy efficiency. And then two, we can understand how much utilities the house are using. We'll have some electrical chargers for electrical cars. And then even, tankless water heaters and things as it relates to just the overall energy use to the house. Because a lot of times when you're doing student housing, you're responsible for the water and the cable and just those things. So if we can build smarter and build more efficient, it helps our underlying bottom line profit. And then some of these things also can be tax savings in the future. I'll pass it back to you, Chris, and let you highlight the overall investment highlights, and then we'll get into like the opportunity.
Right, for sure. So basically, when you're looking at a duplex development, you pretty much have dual income, right? So you're gonna have cash flow throughout the process. So once you develop the duplexes, they will cash flow immediately, right? So from the time you develop them, you'll have money coming in, and it'll also appreciate. So let's say 5 years, 6 years, 7 years down the line, you decide you want to sell them or you want to refinance them. There will be a lot of appreciation that will allow you to pull cash out. In terms of scalability, one of the best things about duplexes is that you can build them over and over and over and over, right? Because pretty much any given site you could potentially build a duplex on. This is the biggest. The biggest thing is this is what students actually want to live in, right? So, we one thing I always say is don't try to like reinvent the wheel, right? Look at the market, see what other people are doing, see what people already like, and then kind of develop something. Put your own flavor on it, but that's the thing. So people actually really, really like living in these products, and they're always oversubscribed. So the market, we talked about the average rent, anywhere from 900 or so, 1250 or so per month for rent. And the occupancy rates are well over 90%, some of them 98, 99. A lot of them are pre-sold out, right? So most of these buildings, they're 100% full, throughout the year. And again, the population continues to increase because the university enrollment can increase however much the university wants, right? We don't have to wait for someone to have another baby or someone to move to the city. We already have thousands of applicants. I think FAMU might have rejected over 17,000 people, right? FSU probably 50, 60,000 people that wanted to come here that they're not letting come here. So let's say they decided, you know what, let's let 2,000 more people come in or 3,000 more people. So that's 6,000, 7,000 more people altogether. Where are they gonna live? Right? So what I'm saying is the population can grow so fast, and that's why there's always such a demand for student housing.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you mentioned earlier, KP, of course, we're starting in Tallahassee because we've already secured the land, but this is a nationwide thing. I have a cousin that goes to University of South Florida. They were housing them in a hotel.
Yep.
A hotel. They didn't have enough housing. Savannah State, Valdosta State. There's so many colleges just in this southeastern corridor of the United States that we just don't have enough housing. We just don't have enough housing.
I mean, I don't think people understand like how fast these universities are growing, right? So, all across the country is growing and growing and growing and growing. And, the demand for college education is going to continue to grow, especially as we get into a more technological society with AI, with, all the other technology. You're going to have some training. You have to go to school. A lot of people are even coming back to school, people who are, beyond traditional college ages, things like that. So you'd be surprised. The demand for college is very, very, very high. And the HBCU brand is tremendously strong, right? Because of TikTok and social media, people want that HBCU experience. So by providing them with nice housing, with a very convenient place to stay, that's going to help enhance their experience and help them to really get what they want. And it's going to keep growing and growing and growing.
And the HBCU brand, man, is no other HBCU, in my opinion. Outside of FAMU. It's different, man. For anybody on this call that didn't go to FAMU, I sincerely apologize. FAMU, man, it's all the way, bro. I was at the game Sunday, the Falcons game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm down by the field level, and I see Will Packer come in.
Right. So
of course I go over and introduce myself and speak to him.
Yeah.
Say, yeah, I'm a fellow rapper. Eyes lit up. This is a high net worth, lot of power individual.
Very powerful person.
But when you mention FAMU to someone who went to FAMU,
right,
you might as well pull up a chair.
Exactly.
Family.
It's family. It's family.
It's family, man.
It's very, very, very powerful. Obviously we have love for all HBCUs, so we support everyone. But in particular, I feel like one thing I really love about FAMU is that it's so much tradition, right? So it's like, when you find someone, you'll find someone with the family, but you hardly ever see it was just them from their family. Yeah. It was probably them, their cousin, their auntie, their grandma, because FAMU's been around so long, right? Like I said, since 1887, right? And that tradition continues. So we all know that, okay, one day, if you have kids, you might want to sing your kid. You might want to sing your little niece, your nephew, someone like that. So it's going to continue to grow and grow and grow, just really off of referrals from FAMU students, right? To keep it in a simple way. So that growth is amazing right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Pete, speak to the investment advantages before we share the actual investment.
Okay. Like Chris just stated, man, the high demand for duplexes in Tallahassee, they have, like he said, 90 to 98, 99% vacancy rates. The tax benefits, you can depreciate and mortgage interest deductions. The affordable entry, which is the strong market returns without premium property pricing, like what we're getting ready to present to them, right, is an opportunity to get in on this level. The strategic location, like I just seen, I think his name Jay or something, he put a message what is walking distance. Right. In Tallahassee, everything ain't walking distance.
Exactly.
It's 7 hills up there.
Exactly.
Everything,
high hill.
High hill. It's like Mount Tallahassee. So when we say walking distance, we mean 5 minutes to campus. Right, legitimate walking, like not like a 10-minute walk to campus. Not how you walking up no hot hills, maybe a little small hill, but not crazy, right? And you walking from Appleyard. No. Exactly. So exactly, I wanted to say when we say walking distance, we literally mean walking distance where you're not, dehydrated by the time you get to campus or back home. So that's walking distance. Exactly, for sure.
So break down the development cost in the budget and stuff, Chris.
Right. So just kind of like high level overview. Basically, we the 10 lots and site work plans, all the kind of initial work on the sites were about $450,000. When it comes to development, construction, other soft cost plans, other things like that, you're looking at about 3.5 million. So basically, altogether, this project is right around a $4 million project.
Yeah, and this is for approximately 20 units, right?
Yep. 20 units. Yep, 10 duplex. So the great thing about it is we already have the lots. We've already been kind of going through a lot of the permitting, planning processes. So our ability to start quickly is there, right? So we can get started probably within the next 60 to 90 days in terms of breaking ground. In terms of the construction, because of duplexes being, following typical kind of residential construction processes, we're looking at about a 6 to 9 month time frame. So basically, we could be pretty much the end of this year. We could be in homecoming. We shoot for homecoming now. So if anybody needs an Airbnb, anybody need a place to stay for homecoming, you can actually be staying in your place and paying yourself. I always see in the FAMU alumni group every year, people complaining about how much Airbnbs are, how much hotels are.
Listen, man, you
Why not
know
get
how
those spots?
blessed, you know how blessed I am. My birthday is always on home.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly, man. So yeah, so basically, we really want to have this up and running by the end of the fall, and then obviously all the way occupied by spring of 2026. So in terms of the investment, what we're looking at is a minimum investment of 25,000, and the time frame that for the investment will be 12 to 16 months, would basically be the time frame to build the property and refinance it or whatever the exit strategy will be. Our return on investment will be 20%, right? So that's a very strong investment compared to what's out there in the typical market. And then in terms of security, now we can get a lot more into details of this, that, and the other. But basically, our main form of security will be a promissory note, legally binding promissory notes and other documents. But basically, will let you know how much you've invested, what you plan, what is your return, a whole lot of things like that, and those as well. In addition to this, we've had some people who've expressed, interest and possibly doing like investing in larger amounts. If people are looking to invest, 100,000 or more, we have some additional opportunities that we could enter into for people who are looking to invest at that point.
yeah, and that will be passive. Meaning
Right.
They will be getting money, a lot more often than that 120% payout.
Exactly. So that would be more on the residual side. So people are looking, they want to get into something a little bit more long term. They want to, kind of hold something throughout in perpetuity. They get if they want to come in at that 100,000 range, then we can talk, and then we can structure a deal that makes everything work for everyone.
Yeah. And the other thing, I know, the way we have it set up, we're actually using a portal. So anybody that invests can log in, see exactly where the property is at. You can see timelines, you can see pictures. We'll also do monthly calls, in-person stuff, because we want you guys to feel like you're really a part of this. And I guess the final point is that, we're using a company that when you do invest, you're actually going to be a part of the LLC and have ownership within the actual LLC that's running the entire operation.
Yeah. And you had a great point. And I know before you pick up there, before I lose my train of thought, the point when you said we want to invest in that last way. I know a lot of you guys may be wondering why we have this on our shirts, but this is part of our academy, which is Building Builders Academy. And what it simply says is builder, build her, build him, we build builders. And what it is we're not only teaching people how to build houses from the ground up or duplexes, in this case from the ground up, but we're teaching them how to build wealth. Right. And they're able to relay it to their kids. So we're teaching them how to really create generational wealth. Like I said earlier, generational wealth is you educating them while you're still here so they can continue to grow when you're not. Absolutely. So that's why we consider ourselves the people's champ when it comes to building builders. And that is the brand for Building Builders Academy.
Absolutely. In addition to that, we have other opportunities that if anybody's interested, we'll give you our contact information. We have 14 modern homes that we're already working on our model home actually right now for the subdivision, and we're breaking ground on our first mansion, which is in Metro Atlanta. And then, we have a 28 unit townhouse development in Lithonia, Georgia that we just acquired. We also have 34 acres to build a theme park, which is going to be a barn dominium, some cabins, some condos down in Locust Grove, Georgia, that has a lake. So we have, in addition to what we just shared with you, other opportunities. If anybody's interested in some of those other opportunities. So what we'll do now, we know we have a lot of people that may have some questions. So we're going to give everybody an opportunity to just fire away, and I'll try to answer, some of the stuff in the chat, but I think you guys can raise your hand. We would love to just maybe speak to you. If you want to, raise your hand, I'll start going through and allowing people to talk.
Let's see.
How do you accept? Okay. Kiana,
He's muted.
I think you gotta unmute. I'll come back to you. I'm gonna go to you, Ted.
Okay, you can unmute again. All right, guys, when you come on, just be ready to unmute your mic. Do you have to get a permission to unmute, access?
I don't think so.
They don't have the opportunity to unmute, so you have to unmute.
That's my
Yeah, they should just be able to unmute on their end, because I gave them permission to talk.
All right, Ted, try to say something. Can you unmute yourself? Maybe drop it out.
Okay, what about now?
It said, so there's somebody saying in the chat, they don't think you have opportunity to unmute. We'll have to just drop them in the chat, questions.
But just put your questions in the chat and we'll answer. Can you build a fourplex on the lot, which is a quad? Yes,
Yes.
there's certain lots you can build a quad. All right, do we have any more questions that you can put in the chat? I have an issue with the mute. All right, you got a link for them to register calls?
I can send
Try to log on. Yeah.
All right, can someone type something in the chat? I just want to see if mine is refreshing. All right. How many investors are you looking for to acquire the duplex opportunity?
I'm sorry. How many investors? I mean, we're just looking for people who want to invest. I would say there's not a set number of people that we're
Right,
looking
it's
for.
a set amount.
It's a set amount, so just people who are looking to invest, and then we'll get to the amount that's needed to knock out the project.
Let me, I'm gonna bring this closer.
So about parking. What about parking?
That's just based on per property basis.
Yeah.
Like, it won't be like the old Tallahassee where you
Yeah,
had to go sleep in your car to keep it from getting towed.
right. Now you don't have to worry about that. You park on the street, stuff like that. Let's see here.
Let's go to Eric. He's a
Eric.
realtor.
Okay, so
Insurance for the units is a different census per room.
no, it'll be the same. It's just a regular.
Construction of perm for a duplex, which is running about 400K.
Yeah, I mean, you if you want to keep the property, you can do a construction of perms depending on what's right on the financing.
Yeah, there would be no cameras on the inside of the house, bro. That's just an invasion of privacy. Because once they sign their lease.
Yeah. And then each room does have a private bathroom. And the rooms are like standard size rooms, so
yeah.
Like
each duplex is, similar, but it's different at the same time because we haven't chosen the final design. So all those specs will be laid out when we get ready to submit for permits.
Yep.
James would like more information. For anyone who would like more information about the other opportunities, Gene, can you put your email in there so they can send you over an email? And for those that would like more information about this duplex opportunity, we need an email for them to send.
Yes.
All right, Ted, go ahead.
All right, you guys can hear me good?
Yes, sir.
Hey, so I put my question in the chat, but what do you guys anticipate the return on the 25K over the 6 to 9 months? You guys have any ideas on that yet?
It's 12 to 16 months for the return of that 20% on the 25K.
Yeah, so it'll be
It's
a
6 to 9 months to build. Once we break ground and do the exit strategy, which is refi, then we'll be able to pay off everyone who invested in that particular location.
Okay.
The streets are on several different lots around Tallahassee. It's not one particular lot, and we don't want to disclose the streets right now. But it is walking distance.
Thank you.
All right, for those that want to reach out to Gene via email about the other opportunities, like the stuff that he showed you on the last couple slides in Atlanta, Georgia, please feel free to shoot him an email right now at gene@brightstonehomes.com. It's in the chat. Are you targeting a different tenant type for duplexes other than students?
I mean, it'll be mainly student housing. I mean, the student housing.
Yeah, we don't want to, mix non-students with students, especially when this primary focus is for student housing.
And I'll just say, just for appreciation purposes and for longevity of the value of the property, it's best to keep a student housing. I've seen some of these duplexes that were built for student housing be turned into, like, say, family housing. Yeah. And it just doesn't do well with the appreciation.
They did that on Magnolia.
Yeah, it really goes down very, very bad, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's the best way.
Have you investigated the financial health of FAMU? Well, one thing about the financial health of FAMU, it's a state-run, state-backed university. Right. So they're always going to make sure, as long as they could pass, everything that they need to pass is going to be healthy in that sense. Yeah, no, it shouldn't be any other issues. And then remember, students, they're either going to, when you're dealing with students, you have either two, it's not the student paying the rent, it's either their parents or it's FAFSA, which is the federal government, right? So that's another reason why our student housing ends up being a good time. All right, Gene, Amir and quite a few other people are putting their emails in the chat if you want to screenshot it if you can.
No, the Zoom will save everybody. It'll save all that information.
Okay. Have we seen what TSU is going through? I haven't seen. The shortage, they have a big shortage of housing. They've been putting houses, they got people living in shipping containers and all types of stuff. I mean, it's everywhere you go, every HBCUs, almost all universities, period, have a shortage of housing because they weren't built to be as big as they are. Yeah. And it's not a certain amount of, someone asked how many investors are you looking for? We're not looking for a certain amount of people, we're looking for a certain amount of money. So it just depends on how much we raise to go towards these projects and the other projects that we're working on.
But again, too, like we stated in the beginning, we want to open this opportunity up for the average person, because all that we don't raise, we already have, people that will put in 500K, $1 million to do it. Like, this ain't a rich get richer. Like, this is an opportunity for, for us to share opportunities that normally don't come across, like, our plates.
Right.
That's the biggest thing when it comes to kind of what we're trying to do.
Right. Usually opportunities like this are just, you call a couple of your rich buddies and you do it. Right. You don't have, the average person doesn't really typically get a chance to invest in these types of situations, but we want to make it as community-based as possible. All right. And one question for DeMarcus specifically. Hey, he's long-winded, easy, so get ready, get your notepad. Can you talk about how hard money lending works and acquiring funds to build? This ain't a boot camp on DeMarcus on this.
Yes, I can always talk about hard money and how it requires to get with hard money. if you're interested, I tell you what, I'll give you my contact information. If anybody wants to talk about it, they can feel free to hit me up online. Give my email address as well.
I'll drop it in the chat.
And we'll drop it all in the chat for you that way, because it all depends on situations, what you're trying to do and what you're trying to build. So it's not always a one size fit every person, like this medium shirt I got on today, you know.
All right, Gene, for the 100K passive opportunity, and this is from my good brother, Amir, would we see return on a monthly basis or quarterly? How much could we expect? And I think it's it's a per project situation. So it may be invested into one of our faster turnover properties, or it may be put into the duplex, which has the extended turnover.
Right. So yeah, I mean, it really just depends. So we kind of sit down and structure something that works for everyone, depending on what's available. So I would say let's just get his email, and then we can have a one-on-one conversation to go into real specifics of what that would look like.
Yeah, anybody that's interested in having a one-on-one conversation, just put your name, email, and phone number in the chat, and we're going to be reaching out to you guys, or email us directly.
Or you can call Gene, 404. Nah, but I see a great question that I want to answer to Ms. Rogers. Ms. Rogers, I graduated from FAMU recently, and I'm younger. How would you advise to raise the capital to buy in the mid-20s, young professionals? What I would tell my younger self, as well as you, Ms. Rogers, is Miss or Miss, I'm not sure. What I would tell my younger self is to get around people that are doing what I want to do, right? So I can soak up as much information. I would watch videos. It's a lot of fake gurus on the internet, so you got to be careful. So it's best that you put yourself in a place where these investors are, like Chris. If you're in Tallahassee, he's here. If you go to FAMU, they got Club Real, which is FAMU Real Estate School. So putting yourself around these people, you're going to be introduced to new creative ways to raise capital. You're going to be introduced to understand that you don't necessarily need the capital. You need the education more than the capital at this phase of your career. Because if someone were to give you the capital and you lack the education, you would probably blow it, right? You would probably lose it. So it's best to just get your education up right now. Of course, on learning how to get your credit together and save the capital and build the capital. But it's more important getting educated first. So just put yourself around people that are doing what you want to do. Gene and I got over 100 videos on YouTube. We got BBA, Building Builders Academy. We got, our stuff on our social medias where you can follow us and actually educate yourself for free. So I would definitely do that starting out. It's not so much about the money, because you're going to need 3 things to invest in real estate. And everybody on this call should know this. You're going to need education. You're going to need cash or capital. I don't want to hold my middle finger up. And you're going to need cash, capital, education, and credit. You're going to need credit, right? But if you have one of those 3, you can find the other 2. Yeah. But the most important one is education. Because even if you have great credit and you have no idea on how to properly invest in real estate, you can easily get burned. Same thing with the cash and capital. So just get your education up right.
All right. It's always they used to always tell me, competence attracts capital. Right. So if you're a competent person and confident in your competence, you will attract capital. Right. So this just develop that. Obviously we've talked a lot, so just keep doing what you've been doing. We're gonna get you there.
All right. William would like a one-on-one. William, if you can put your email in there.
Yeah, so anyone who wants a one-on-one, just go ahead and drop your email, phone number.
And state that you want a one-on-one in the
yeah, so we can get you locked in. We're happy to have more in-depth conversations about everything. I'm obviously happy to answer any questions that we can now, but we certainly in a one-on-one conversation can go a lot deeper as well.
Let's see, we got Q&A.
Yeah, anybody that's in Atlanta, that want to see some of the stuff that we have, from lake houses to mansions to modern homes, you can definitely see some of our work in person. Always open door policy with what we have.
Yeah, for sure. Same here. Anybody in Tallahassee, you can always pull up on me. Know I'm working.
And for those that want to get their hands dirty, in a sense, we do teach people how to build houses from the ground up. So you can follow us on social media. You can look up Building Builders Academy. You can follow me, Kelly, Kelley _Parker on Instagram. You follow Gene, GENE_Johnson1 on Instagram. And of course, the Construction Kings. That's who we are, along with Brightstone Homes and Building Builders Academies. So
Is Jamel on the call? If he's on the call, Jamel, drop the link for anybody who may be interested. We do have a boot camp coming up. That's, you know, another, we'll drop the link just in case somebody's interested.
yeah. And we don't like to brag, but we do like to give our students credit. Some of our students are batting 1,000 right now since they joined the program. They built and sold houses. Man, on their first houses, we got a couple guys. One of them actually went to Florida State, and he cleared 147,000 on his first new build. We got married couples that are regular full-time employees, making extra $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year, building one house, selling it, and continue doing it. So for those that want to learn how to build and become a student of Building Builders Academy, Jamil locking that chat. Let me see if he left it. Yeah, he left it for the boot camp, and then you can put I'll put the other chat the other link in there for the membership that we also have.
Any other questions? Are you using the same subcontractors across state lines? Now, we have crews down in Florida. Yeah. I mean, if need be, I mean, we definitely got people that'll travel 4 hours and host them, but now we got crews in Florida. And like I said before, you know, we have a partnership with Home Depot. One of the things that they've been really good at, especially as it relates to out of state, is just help connecting us with resources. If you don't know, like Home Depot is making a big transition right now. They're still going to do like the DIY people, but they're transitioning to help builders grow. You know, we're meeting with the CEO on the 16th of January to implement like some of these strategies. So like we got connections everywhere. And it's just not in these 4 states. So we got connections to Texas, we got connections in, you know, Ohio, we got connections in Arizona, you know, we got connections in, you know, multiple different states across the US.
We hope you all got enlightened by this video with this opportunity that we present itself. I always tell people, no one can give you an opportunity. They can present an opportunity, but you got to take a chance. And that's how we got to this point. Gene and I started BBA and of course the Construction Kings 4 or 5 years ago. We took a chance and jumped on YouTube and started putting this information out there. And we were able to grow this this little YouTube thing into what it is today. We're building hundreds of houses, teaching thousands of people, man. And it's just real motivational because I can tell you something. When I was in Tallahassee, right? I used to be a teacher down here. I taught at Rickers. I was a sub at Leon and all these other schools down here. When I got my real estate license, because I got my license in Tallahassee over 10 years ago. I went to the little real estate school, Capital Circle. And I got my license, man. I knew Tallahassee was a huge renter's market. So I wasn't really buying and selling. Right. So I hit Gene up. For those that don't know, I've known Gene for over 40 years. Right? I know we don't look it, but we don't smoke or drink. So
Black don't cry.
Yeah, but I've known Gene for over 40 years. And I got my license. I was working at KW in Cologne, Keller Williams in Cologne. Gene was running KW Atlanta Partners. So I see him on Facebook and I shoot him a message. Bro, what's good? I got my license in Florida. I'm thinking about moving to Atlanta. If I come up there, do you think you got some room for me on your team? He hit me back the next day. Like, yeah, man, of course I got you, bro. When you want to come? I said, whenever. He said, can you come tomorrow? It was Wednesday. I said, no, I can't. He said, can you start tomorrow? I'm like, no, I can't start tomorrow, but I can come tomorrow, get my stuff together, and I can start on Monday. Right. And that was 8 years ago.
Mhm.
And I've been in Atlanta ever since. And that's how we move. When you see, Gene gave me an opportunity, but I created it,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
Because I took a chance, I reached out to him.
Yeah.
And if you believe in yourself, you'll do this type of stuff. Like if you want something, you'll get it. The reason that we so focus on community because we see what it does as a whole,
Exactly.
right? Like you stated earlier, pooling our money together. I mean, we can always do so much more when we put our money together. Like I said, it's not even just us
Right.
putting our money together. It's you, your uncle, your dad, or whoever. Y'all put y'all paper together and you're able to do so much more.
So much more.
But you all have to be on the same page.
Right.
Right? If you're all on the same page and got this destination that you're trying to get to, you're all going to take this journey together.
Exactly.
Right? When I grew up, and you probably heard this before from me, because I haven't heard this from anybody else. I grew up with a MapQuest mentality. Right? Today's society is more GPS mentality.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is, when I was going to FAMU, I was coming from outdoor Florida. So I would have to print a MapQuest map with directions. It took me up 441 or 27, or however I wanted to go. And I had to look at these directions and make sure I got to Tallahassee, right? And if I got lost, I was able to go back to my map and get me there.
Exactly.
But today's society is so quick. They want money and they want success like this, that they forget that, yo, if you get this taken from you, if you get lost or your GPS lose signal on your way to success, you are lost. You don't know where you came from. You don't know where you're going. So I just push it out there like this. Like what we created is just a community-oriented situation from BBA to the Construction Kings to what you guys are currently involved in right now, whether you know it or not. You're a part of what we created. And I thank God for putting y'all in this room with us today. Because we're all going to get to where we need to go when we need to get there.
Exactly.
I just think it'd be more effective and more efficient if we did it together.
Yep. I say if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's really the most important thing. We want to go far.
Yeah.
We want to do things that haven't been done, and the best way to do it is together. So again, people who are interested in investing, please put your name, your email, your phone number, whatever your most convenient contact information is, so we can make sure we set up a one-on-one opportunity so we can discuss everything and really get this stuff off the ground. Because it's a great opportunity. I mean, I'm really excited. I mean, it's something that I've been waiting for years, and now the market and everything has just really kind of come together. So now the time is right to really take this thing to the next level. So
not just the market, the team,
the market,
team, and
everything.
Understanding, because when everybody had this COVID money,
wasn't
nobody thinking about it.
Exactly.
It's when the money ran out and people started thinking like, I need to try to make some money.
Exactly.
It's the top of the year, the 7th day of 2025.
Exactly.
We could all be property owners or investors in 6 to 9 months.
6 to 9 months.
We just gotta think like, yo, listen, I got this money right here. Let me go do this.
Yep.
Because at least, when I say this, at least your money has an address.
Exactly.
At least you know where your money at.
You know where's that?
You can drive by it. You come to Tallahassee
every day.
You can
drive by it every day.
You can't do that with stocks.
Exactly. You don't know where. You don't know where it is.
What money? But you can definitely your money.
KP. KP, I'll piggyback on something you say. I always tell my investor friends and everybody who's invested who does loans with me. I say that investing in real estate is a marathon, not a sprint. You're not going to get wealthy off of one door.
All right.
It takes multiple doors, multiple opportunities to become wealthy. If you look at some of the wealthiest people in the world, they all did it off of debt. Good debt produces great money. Remember what I said that. Good debt produces great money. Bad debt produces bad money. So how are we going to get the money together to make this thing happen so everybody can eat at the table? We're going to do it. Yeah. But remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
For sure.
Yeah. So with that being said, man, I want to thank everybody for coming on and being a part of this presentation. And we hope to inspire you one way or another. So.
Yeah, just again, thank you for your time. We do appreciate you getting on. We're very excited for this project and many more projects to come. I don't think they know that this is really this is just the very, very beginning
Tip of the iceberg.
of
man.
something huge,
Got coming up.
right? So we really want to get you guys a chance. Don't be that person who could have got in in the beginning and then later on, because what they say, yesterday's price is not today's price. So let's go ahead and get in, tap in with us early so we really all can grow together. We can take it to the next level.
Yeah, man. Appreciate everybody for, again, like what you guys say, for joining us. And we definitely got more calls, got more stuff coming up. So appreciate you guys, man, and we'll see y'all next time.
All right, have a good one.
All right, guys.
Okay.
All right.